comes despite the Israel Defense Forces firing on their positions and ongoing demands for their withdrawal to the north.
While much remains to be done, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis commended the progress made in the recovery efforts following Hurricane Milton, emphasizing that power has been restored faster than ever before after such a major storm. The United States has fined German airline Lufthansa $4 million over its treatment of a group of Jewish passengers who were barred from boarding a 2022 flight in Frankfurt after traveling from New York to Germany.
The U.S. Transportation Department noted that this is the largest fine ever imposed on an airline for civil rights violations.
North Korea has destroyed sections of 2 key roads that connect with South Korea, according to Seoul's military, as tensions remain high over recent provocations across the border.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
You have to leave now. You must leave.
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking.
I got a cat.
That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity.
You gotta go.
Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
No, I guess that's appropriate. Because Cats and Dogs will be performing this weekend again. So, we have that. Somebody just get rid of the band. We have to buy this band. I think I asked Steven to take care of it. Steven, take care of the band. Give him the pink slip or whatever. Just play too long. And the cat. Fire the cat, too. Oh, good morning, folks. It is Thursday, October 17th, 2024. A little frost on the pumpkin, as they say. I don't know if they really say that. I think I say that. I'm the only one who's ever said that. A little frost on the pumpkin. A little chilly out here today. Nice autumn day. Soon, I'm going to smack this cat. I really am going to smack this cat. You people on the radio don't even see me reacting to a cat, but I'm getting clawed by a cat. Soon, this part of Long Island will be inundated with pumpkin pickers. And I've done this rant. This is an Ibid rant, but I have to say, every year this time I have to say this. We are inundated with pumpkin pickers who come out to North Fork to pick pumpkins. Here's the thing. They're not really picking pumpkins. Boy, say that fast. What they are doing is picking pumpkins up off the ground. This farmland here, and trucks come in, dump trucks full of pumpkins, and they dump the pumpkins on the floor, on the ground, not a floor. Same thing. And then people come out from New York City or the suburbs, and they pay to pick a pumpkin up off the ground that was dumped there and feel like they're communing with nature or something. It's ridiculous. And then you will see them at the supermarket, the same exact pumpkins that they have left over on a cart. It's like, pick your own. No, they're not even homegrown. I think they're not even New York State grown. Then it might not even be from America. It could be from Pumpkinistan. I surprise myself with what comes out of my mouth sometimes. So yeah. So it's pumpkin fun. Anyway, enough of that rant. We are going to hear some Army stories today. Yeah, military guy, which is apropos because I will be at the VA in Northport this afternoon. Not even like late afternoon, by 12:30. So not long after this show ends. So I'm going to be entertained with a stories from a memoir about a 31-year career in the U.S. Army, and then I get to go try to cheer up some guys in the VA and ladies in the VA. I don't want to exclude them. So it's maybe I should borrow my stepson's uniform or something and salute. Anyway, that's the show we got lined up for you today. If you don't know, there was there still is a lot of buzz in social media about Harris's appearance on Fox News yesterday. We'll probably talk about that with the dog pound in the second hour. But right now I want to tell you about Opus Clips Pro, and I think our friend, my ex-best friend, is it seems like he might be using Opus Clips. I'm not sure if he is, but Clip Anything allows you to take long form videos such as this dopey show that we do every day and automatically convert them into shorts, reels, any length of video. You can actually select, you can actually ask it to compile certain sections based on a text prompt. It appears that G.D. Fenderson has been doing that. I don't know if he has or he's been actually doing the work himself, but it appears like he got himself an Opus Clips subscription. Anyway, you can get one too. The link is in the description, and please use our link. Don't just go there and sign up. That would really suck. I'm telling you about it. You should get me some credit by signing up over there. Here's the commercial for you, and then we'll be back with the dog pound.
Dreams do come true. I am showering on Netflix.
Yeah. You know what? I've never wanted to compile drunks more than after watching that clip right there. Ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me now are the former birthday boy, Ron Kane, who's no longer the birthday boy, which is a sad. He's graduated to being just a regular boy from birthday boy. And Stephen, the sitcom Ortiz, who laughs at all of GD's jokes when Ron and I don't. And then my former best friend of 37 years, who, by the way, the auditions for a new best friend are tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. T.S. Eliot. Good morning, T.S.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Do you have a little frost on your pumpkin? A little damp around your gourd? A little seepage from your squash? You can see a doctor, or you can try some of Matt's Miracle Helixer, available online today. On sale for $19.95 a bottle. Matt's
Wow.
Helixer.
Cheap.
It is cheap, like Matt.
Thank you very much for that.
MindDogTV.com. Support your local mercenaries.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question. If you have frost around your pumpkin, do you have to go see a gordicologist?
I'm sorry, I can't concentrate with that bright glow on your head. It looks like you're.
I know.
I don't know. You're like Europa or something.
The Earth.
I think there's life underneath the surface of your head.
The Earth has tilted in such a way to where the sun at this time of the year is coming right through the window. And it'll be gone in about 10 minutes.
Can't you just take Indiana and kind of tilt it a little bit?
I tried, but then all the rednecks fell out and started causing trouble, so I had to tuck them all back away. So
I would think that would be a good thing, but what do I know? All right.
Well, they fell out. They didn't go away. They just fell out. They became aware. So we had to throw some Bud Light under the trailers to get them to go back, and we're good.
Did you, Ron? Did you have an exciting birthday night? You went out to a strip club or something, or you were? What did you do on your birthday?
No, my wife had a pool last night, and then I went to a really good mic last night, which was basically like a show. So,
did they?
It's a Wednesday night, so we're gonna do stuff this weekend. So,
yeah.
I guess with my birthday. With my birthday, it's a month-long celebration, so it's okay.
Did you tell her you wanted? Did you get her to do the thumb thing that you wanted her to do that you told me about?
It's just so. It's just so distracting. That glow on. It's like the sun is in the room with us. Yeah.
Stephen is our Rudolph. It's like our Rudolph. It's like Stephen with your head so bright.
Yeah.
The show tonight.
Exactly. That's not bad. Here's the thing with the birthdays, though. I mean, birthdays used to be a day, and then they were a weekend, and then they were a week, and then they were a month, and now it's just like my birthday year. So it's like a constant 365-day a life of birthdays. Every day is a birthday.
Just remember, every day can be magical.
Oh no! Wow, that is so. What is that? So it's so
Well, it's Corona, so it can't be because Corona is not Corona's not even beer.
I thought Corona was contagious.
Are you kidding me? Corona.
Stephen, I'm sorry, but when I see you dressed like that, the only thing I can think of is one of two things. Either one, it's like a bad Star Wars remake, or two, that ain't your grandpappy's hood. So,
yeah.
Well, if it was my grandpappy's hood, it wouldn't be black, first of all. Second of all,
the grand poopah. No, that would be red or something. Whatever.
His was he had a red one and a white one. He was a grand wizard and a grand dragon.
Oh, so the red was like for formal occasions.
I don't know. I didn't ask for the handbook.
You know the rules. You have the handbook. You got passed down the handbook.
I really did. I really took very little interest in it. I was not.
Do they even have a handbook? This is the question, and I would like to get a copy.
They do. They have a handbook. They have a handbook. They have a handbook and a paper application because my grandfather had sent me one.
Wow, a paper application.
Very formal.
What would they ask on that paper application?
It was like a medical form. It was like name, address, where you live.
Using your own words, describe how much you hate the Jews.
Ancestry. And I was just like, this is dumb. Like, what am I signing up for? Mary Kay? This is stupid.
Wow.
Like, what is this?
I don't think Mary Kay would ask about your ancestry. That's the only thing.
Probably. They do. They need to know if you have a history of pink Cadillacs in your family.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe skin conditions. They may be concerned about skin conditions. They don't want you like modeling their makeup if you have like condition like warts or something like that.
Oh yeah. Don't use our supply if you're a freak. Yeah, I got it.
We have to move on and meet Jason Pike, Lieutenant Colonel Jason Pike. I should be formal when I introduce him, but I just want to seed the after the second hour conversation here. Possibly, I found out a little more about the guy who's going to get executed in Texas today. He was convicted of was shaken baby syndrome, based on science at the time, and this was like 30 years ago, that said if the baby's eyes were, it had to have three different conditions of the swollen brain, the eyes popped out or something, not popped out, but whatever, pupils popped out. he was convicted on that evidence. That science has since been turned over, and they said no. The science is now saying no. That is not. That doesn't mean it was necessarily shaken baby syndrome. There could have been lots of medical conditions that would cause those three conditions to happen, but they're still planning on frying, not frying him, in lethal injection today. So I don't know what would it hurt just to slow the thing down and say, let's look at this with fresh eyes and call in the scientists and get a good idea of this before they kill him. But it seems like Texas, they're in a hurry to do that. And let's not slow it down, because if we find out he truly was innocent, then we don't get to kill a guy, and we just love killing guys.
See, being death penalty, pro death penalty. Obviously, I obviously support there needing to be evidence to prove it without a shadow of a doubt. In this case, no, the government is murdering him. This is murder. It's all it is. It's just murder.
Here's my thing,
and it's disgusting.
Even if you come back to that position, you can always kill him tomorrow. It's like he's not gonna
That's the point I was gonna get to. Is if you've been taking care of him this long, what's it gonna hurt to take a little bit more time? You can kill him if he's still guilty. Just take another 2 weeks and fucking look at the evidence again. What's it gonna hurt?
You don't have like another 2 weeks, because Halloween is coming up and there's a shortage of costumes in the prison. You need to have. There's only so many costumes in the prison. If you get rid of him and 2 other guys, everyone can have a costume. They get all dressed up as their favorite convict.
I guess this will keep everyone from fighting over the Elsa costume again. So that makes sense,
right? And that's less candy they have to hand out to the prisoners. Less candy. Okay. You're saving money in the long run.
Well, we'll talk about this in hour 2, probably, or maybe we've already wasted the entire conversation right just here and now. It's time to get to our guest. Our guest today is Lieutenant Colonel Jason Pike, who is a combat veteran with multiple deployments. He is retired, I should say that. He's 31 years in the Army, both as enlisted and as an officer, which I'm curious about how you actually do that. 9 years.
For a gentleman, we have to ask him that.
I will.
Okay.
9 years overseas in 5 countries. Jason has earned over 30 service awards and badges. He's the author of a new memoir called "A Soldier Against All Odds." He's here now. It's not his first book. Good morning, Jason. Lieutenant Colonel Pike, I should say. I'm sorry. I'm not a very disciplined person, as you could probably already tell. But good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
Let's start with, because I'm curious, how do you go from you were enlisted in the Army, and then would you do your time and then go to college and then get a degree and then come back as an officer? How did that work?
Yeah, what I did was I got an ROTC scholarship at Clemson University in South Carolina. I was in the National Guard. Some people call that the nasty girls or the no-goes. It was a less invested. But what I did is I got out. I was in college, junior college, and I got picked up for a ROTC scholarship. And therefore, I was obliged to fulfill the scholarship. And then from there, later on, I became an officer and went on to active duty. But I started out in the National Guard, the Reserve Forces, and then basically went off after that when I became an officer.
Okay, why did you enlist? Was it because I'm thinking 31 years is like right around Gulf War or the first Gulf
I was
War.
17 years old. I was a junior in high school because I had failed the first grade. There was not a whole lot of hope and optimism for my future. I figured I'll just join the National Guard and be sort of kind of like a redneck military guy. And that's kind of what I did. And I was 5'8", 150 pounds. Sports were out of the question. College was out of the question. But and that's to be so. I wanted to be something larger than life, or being in the military, something serving my country, and maybe as a part-time gig. And but it went on to be much more than a part-time gig.
Right. 31 years, I would say. It's a full life. Yeah. Now, with the book that you have written, let me pull up the book. It seems to suggest, exactly. I got I got a clearer version for people to see. I think, don't I?
That's when I was 17
not
years old.
logical.
Yeah, I just got out of being a junior in high school right there, and then Afghanistan. That's when I was in Afghanistan right there. Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
So now it sounds like against all odds. What that had me confused. Like it reminds me of a Phil Collins song. But against all odds, what is the meaning of that?
It's against. Oh, well, it's because I had learning problems. I had physical problems. I had medical. I had an osteomyelitis in my knees when I was a young kid. I was kind of like a Forrest Gump in many ways. If you've seen that show with Tom Hanks, and there was so many fiascos and failures that went along with my life that we said it's against all odds. In the beginning, we were thinking about. We don't need any Einsteins in the Army. That's what we thought in the beginning. But then after we started looking at it, we said, hell, it's more than just education. It's everything that I was fighting against many things of my own self-destruction of my own self in many ways, but also just many bizarre events that went along the way with the military. And yeah, that's why we said against all odds, because it's pretty much damn near everything. Yeah.
All right, I'm confused because, and I don't mean to be disrespectful at all, but has the Army lowered their standards? You say you had osteomyelitis and a learning disability. Back when I was a young man, they would not have let me in if I.
Yeah, so exactly. Pertaining to your question there, I lied to the military about my medical problems, and I said I'm good. And then as far as the intellectual or the whatever. As far as the testing, when you have to enter the military with an ASVAB, the military entrance exam, that's a mystery to me. I think since I was joining the National Guard or the Nasty Girls, I think they just sort of slimed my way in there. I think they paper whipped it. I was not joining active. All right. And so I think once you get your foot in the door, you're in the door. And so I really don't think I passed that test. I think they just said, well, they needed some bodies and they just slid me in there.
Wow.
Yeah, well, it's only 1 weekend a month. What could he do? What could he hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks a year.
Huh?
1 week in a month, drinking beer on the weekends, pretty much. We were.
So it's interesting. Yeah, it's like we put people up front to hide behind. My experience, and I don't have a lot of experience with the Army, Marine Corps, lots of experience with family and people like this. My experiences, though, enlisted people are not always very fond of officers. I'm just wondering, when you made a transition from enlisted man to officer, did your mindset change about what officers, the responsibilities they bear and leadership and what all that's about, and maybe kind of understand some of the things that you might have not liked about commanding officer before that?
Being prior enlisted made me a better officer, and they could see the walk and the talk. I stood out a little differently. I was a bit more comfortable in my skin than if I just joined as an officer, and they could see that. And so I had more respect in many ways. And I thought that, it was, of course, easier to be an officer. I would rather be an officer than enlisted because, shit falls downhill, and I want to be a bit more up the hill,
Yeah. No, it's an easier life without a doubt, right? But you do the responsibility is something that not everybody is even capable of taking on. Some people are better off just being, a grunt, for lack of a better word. I know in corporate world, anytime I got a promotion, it felt like a burden to me. I didn't want it, but it happened. Was that a mental and psychological adjustment for you to get into this leadership role now, from going from being a rank and file service member to being an officer?
Yeah, you come in like maybe as a platoon leader, and you're like, these guys have been in for 15 years. How do I tell them what to do? So I'm thinking, and so what I had to do really was get with my subordinate, my NCOs, the sergeant. and tell them, be very humble. Hey, I don't know what the hell to do. And just be honest and open with them. But can you help me out? I need help. And if you're honest and open and humble, they'll come around. They come around, and they know that you were prior enlisted. And well, they did with me just because of my walk and talk. And I got a lot of help from them. And so a lot of it is just like bringing people in as a team and saying, we're in it together, and I need help. And I'll help you, you help me. And that's kind of how I approached it. And I did pretty well when I was in those defined leadership positions, meaning the titles would be commander or platoon leader, things of that nature. I got in trouble when I was a student, or I got in trouble when I was a staff person, and I had to actually do shit with that kind of head, But yeah, that's kind of how that went as far as that transition.
Are there other military members of are there other members of your family that are military as well?
My dad was in the Navy, but he just did it for the GI Bill. He just did this 4 years and went in. The place where I'm originally from was Fingerville. I'm not joking. Fingerville, South Carolina. It's in Spartanburg County. But that area of the Piedmont is really patriotic people. It's just something a lot of people want to do. But yeah, my dad was in the Navy, but he just did it to get the hell out of Fingerville and to get some get the GI Bill. So
are they able to figure things out in Fingerville?
They're figuring it out. Yeah, that's right.
It sounds like Ron should probably spend some time in Fingerville. I don't know, maybe.
I think he likes Fisting Town. That's beside the point.
Say, yeah, Fisting Town.
Now I prefer the Cape of Fistville. But
the Cape of Fistville. Nice. I heard it's
listen, Jason, when we get to hell, make sure we don't have adjoining cells. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, Jason. So your father being from the Navy because I come from a family where when we get together, there's different branches of the military together, and there's sometimes pissing contests or pissing on contests. Did your dad, have that attitude, toward you?
No, he did not. He did not have that attitude. And he was like the end game is to get the GI Bill. He really didn't give a shit about the military.
Okay.
I mean, he probably didn't even want me to go into the military because that's where you just send people that can't get an education, and he knew, but no, there was no pissing contest, and he didn't really even care for even talking about the military at all.
Interesting. Yeah. Now I just want to let people know the link to where you can get the book is scrolling across the bottom. It's in the description to make it easy for you. That's a short link to the Amazon page where you can get the book. Now, this is not your first book, right?
No, I've got 2 other books as well.
Were they memoirs as well?
One was about the VA, about how to get your benefits within the VA, which is out of uniform back into civilian life. It's kind of like a self-help guide to get through all that VA bureaucracy, the Veterans Administration. Another book, I got another book called Leading Through the Crossfire. It's about toxic leadership, wicked workplaces. We're talking about people that are just have mental problems that are leaders. And so I had to go through some of that. And so I wrote a book on that. I got a lot of veterans help on that. So
okay. Both of those I would like to touch on before we get deep into this book, Soldier Against All Odds. I do a lot of work at the VA, volunteer work and paid work at the VA. And I see a lot of have things improved because we know that veteran suicide is still a very big problem. But from what I see, it seems like the VA has got far more support now than it did, say, even 10 years ago. When I go there, they seem very well taken care of. I have been in a psych ward and talked to a lot of people who are suicidal and all that kind of stuff and kind of counseled with them. But has it improved is the question I'm getting at.
I do believe it's improved. I believe they put more funding. They put more, after 9/11 and all the wars that people have flooded into the VA. They've grown it. There's some good. There's just like anything. There's a bad karmic. There's some good VAs and there's some that are not bad. They're bad. But really, the best advice, without even reading the book, is to get a good veteran service officer to help you go through all the bullshit you have to go through, because they're certified. A veteran service officer like VFW, Wounded Warrior Project, American Legion, they're certified to get you through the process and into the system. And but they've gotten better overall.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Let me just finish this question and then I'll hand it off. I know a lot of vets, and they are reluctant to go to the VA, thinking it's a waste of time. It's just going to be a bunch of bureaucratic red tape. And I say, well, I've seen people go there and get some help and with a lot of things, but they don't take. I guess there's a problem communicating downhill about that. It's not the same old VA that you got frustrated for. Would that be an accurate statement from your perspective?
Statement. I mean, if you served, you deserve. And a lot of people think, well, I was a young man. It was many, many years ago, and I don't have any problems. That's not the point. The point is to get you into the system, even with a 0%. So, because later on we all break down, and we can maybe later on connect it to service, possibly. But yeah, and a lot of people just feel that, I'm good. I don't need that. That's for broke people. I'm not broke and all that. And it's really not about that. I don't even like the word disability. It's because they're not really disabled. They can work. And matter of fact, if you're disabled, you're promoted on priority to work. and
right.
Even if you're 100%, they want you to be in the workforce. All right. And they even higher placements for you. So that's kind of, and there's a lot of people thinking, you're disabled, but it's not really that.
Yeah.
Now,
go ahead.
Has medical technology, hurt the VA in the sense that there are more things that soldiers can survive that they didn't used to survive, and now they come back and they need treatment as opposed to coming back in a box? And did that overwhelm the VA? Like they're still thinking a certain percentage or whatever. I mean, I'm just questioning.
Yeah, that you talk. Yeah, the technology. There's more wounded people than there are people that just die on the battlefield. Right. Yeah, a whole lot more. There's people that have got their limbs cut off and they go back into the service and serve in some capacity because the technology of there's people without legs, they attach them and many times they can go back and serve. And yeah, the medical technology has just gotten incredible after, all the wars and so forth. And that's definitely been the case. Yeah.
I'm going to be at the VA today, and with lots of different people in the audience that I will be playing for. And you know what? Sometimes people don't appear to have any physical disability at all. They're just, sometimes it's a mental thing. Sometimes it's a hidden physical. It's not an apparent physical disability. But I think depression, anxiety, stress, all that kind of stuff is still prevalent no matter what their condition is in. And depression and suicidal ideology, or I'm using the wrong word. The ideation of suicide is a very common thing. Even if people come back physically whole, is that trauma related in your mind, or is there something that is more rooted in the way they are treated by public? Everybody says thank you for your service, but that's not, that's not.
The suicide, you definitely got a point on the suicide and the anxiety, the depression. You got to understand, they come back to the world. They come back to civilian life and they say, shit, civilian life ain't shit. Nobody's taking care of each other. I'm not driving a tank, a multi-million-dollar tank. I'm not flying in these helicopters. I'm not doing all these things. It could be many things that they come back and things have changed and they have a problem adapting and they get frustrated. And then people don't understand. And
right.
I do think they need to find a purpose in life and to get a connection somehow. But that's what's going on a lot with their minds. And exactly.
Well, yeah. So purpose in life now, because your second book is about coming back into civilian life. And if you've been in the military for long enough, I think you kind of that becomes your purpose in life, and then you come back to civilian life, and everything is completely different. Finding your purpose is not. It's even if you've never touched the military, you finding your purpose in life, or wondering about what the hell you're supposed to be doing, can be a difficult thing. But talk to me a little bit about the challenges of being conditioned to a very structured life in the military, and then coming back to just haphazard, do whatever you want to friggin' do in the
Yeah.
civilian life.
Yeah, I mean, you got different people, the acronyms, your language, your behavior, your standards are a certain way. Your entire life and existence is a certain way. You come into civilian life, and now you're working at Walmart, and you're stocking shelves, and there's people not showing up, and the leaders are not taking care of you, and you get frustrated, you get angry, or the post-traumatic might come out of you. You're not adapting that well, possibly. And yeah, so the transition, and they do have transition programs in the military, and I do advise them to max those things out. I know they're just PowerPoint people, but still go there and try to do the best you can with the transition programs they have. When you get out, you may have to play around with various things, just like, have different ideas and try things out before. I know that me, when I was lost, I didn't know what the hell to do. I went up to lieutenant colonel, and I come out like, what the hell? What am I supposed to do? And I did a few different jobs before I become an author and writer and things of that nature. But yeah, it may take you playing around a little bit to find out your purpose, and then you can play around with that. And then if you don't like it later on, you can leave and go somewhere else. But you do have to adjust and figure things out, like a menu. I want to do this job, I might want to do that job, and just see what works for you.
Have you found? I have something to ask. So, have you heard, or have you run into, in my experience, career military guys that become civilians and start working in the private sector again? They are typically the worst managers, and they don't know how to deal with people, and just typically they're just really bad people. And all the ones that I've known that have been career military have wound up getting fired from their jobs.
Can we clarify? Do you know if they were officers or enlisted?
Officers.
Wow.
The one guy was a career Navy guy. He didn't know how to really deal with people, and he got fired for stealing money. And then the other guy was a career Army, and same thing happened to him. He didn't know how to really manage people, and he wound up getting fired as well for stuff that you shouldn't be doing. And so have you
I have not experienced that. I have not seen that. But then again, I've only had a few different jobs. So most of my life was military, 31 years in the military. And coming back to civilian life, I was more like a worker. I worked for the Centers for Disease Control as just a subordinate. And then I worked for the city of San Antonio, Texas for a little while as a subordinate. So, but I haven't seen that.
Well, when I was a young man, I worked for a guy who was a lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps during World War II. And he was now the CEO of the facade company that I worked for. I was a courier for for the intelligence community. But we had he owned and ran a printing company that was basically the government printing office contractor type of thing. Anyway, he was a lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps, and he struggled with workers not being as disciplined, not being used to taking orders and strictly following orders and all that kind of stuff. That stuff I think is more prevalent from officers than what Ron described as like stealing and stuff. I would not. That's surprising to me. But I've seen a lot of guys struggle with. Wait, things are different out here. You can't just give orders and expect people to jump on it.
It's funny you say that, Matt, because there was another manager like before I had left, probably like a year ago or something, and they had to walk him out of the building because he was a career military guy. I don't know if actually I don't know if he was career, but he had been in the military for some time, and he had that issue. Like he couldn't wrap his head around that. Oh, people just won't drop and follow orders for him.
Right, yeah.
And so that eventually just led to escalations of him calling people names.
Right. Yeah. And if you've been around the Marine Corps guys long enough, they can come up with some really creative names.
Jason, if you correct me, if anything I get wrong, just go ahead and correct me. It's okay. I'd rather be corrected and be right than just think I'm right. But
it doesn't show up every day on this program, by the way.
That's true.
This is something new that just for today.
Just for today.
Out of respect.
It's my understanding that you served in 5 different countries. Have you been back to any of those countries as a civilian, and has your military perception of the country and your civilian perception of that country, how do they differ?
Really, yeah, South Korea, I served there 6 different, three tours, and I went back to see a friend, and just going down memory lane, and really I felt more relaxed than I did when I was there, because I'm a civilian now. I can relax. I'm you're not going to be able to kick me out or screw with me. And so so I was more relaxed. I went back to Germany one time. I served over there, and I felt different. Yeah, and but it kind of more of a chill type of difference. Yeah.
Right. Do you have? I hate to put you on a spot like this, but for stories about conflict, armed conflict that you were in, any of those that you could share with us to give us a perspective?
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't. You
don't have to talk about bar fights. Don't talk about bar fights.
Right.
That's because who hasn't done that?
Right. I was in
Afghanistan. I've never been in a fight in my life.
I served in El Salvador twice. That was sort of hazardous, but the Afghanistan, the war zone there, that was definitely hazardous. And for the most part, we were being bombed and shelled probably 3 to 4 times a week in one place, and then I was in Kandahar. It was twice a day. I did see a Humvee get blown up with an improvised explosive device, IED, and we had. I want to let you know, before you go to a war zone, they train the hell out of you to make sure you're not lame, lazy, or crazy, because they want you in that game really well. A lot of people think you're trained to go to war, but you're trained a little extra in before you even go a little bit. And so, but no, I was in Afghanistan for 1 year, 2011 to 2012, and I was a commander of troops over there. And we did very, very well. None of my soldiers got injured from anything. And overall, it was a very good success, just by the harassment of the shelling and the 24-hour operation. That was just a pain in the ass. That's just the way it goes. But other than that, It was not, I had a suicide bomber come on post and want to blow up everybody. But he left. I don't know. He got scared and left and went some other place and blew himself up. But really, we were pretty lucky in our area. I was out towards Iran and Turkmenistan, out in the RC Region Command West, the very far west area, and kind of like an Arizona high desert type of environment. And
wow.
Yeah.
Something you just said just struck me as a little weird. It's like a suicide bomber getting scared. Like, you go into it knowing you're going to die anyway. I can't imagine the mindset there. Like, this is not the place I want to blow myself up.
Imagine the pep talk. Imagine the pep talk. He walks out and they go, no. You can do this. You can do this. Okay, breathe deep. Suck it in. Suck it in.
Where do I want to blow myself up? Does that look like a good place? No, I think over there is a better place to blow.
Yeah.
So when you would come back from situations like that, or after a deployment like that, how high strung were you?
Oh, yeah, I was really high strung. I had to get on some drug when I come back. I had to get on something to calm me down, but I was strung out for probably 2 to 3 months afterwards. It just took I had to go to counseling and calm down and talk to people. And, it just took a while to calm down from that environment.
Yeah, my wife, she has a cousin that served in Iraq, and he was in the unit that Jessica Lynch was when she got taken hostage. And because his job was, he was some kind of mechanic or tech, so they would go fix tanks when they would break down in the field. So as you can imagine, it was very stressful.
Yeah.
And he had to leave because some shit happened to him, just like mentally, just from the stuff that he's seen. That he didn't talk about it for the longest time, but he just talked about like showing up to these like towns in Iraq, and he's like, there's like nothing left. There's like body parts on the ground and shit like that. Then that stuff happened with Jessica, so he had a kind of a bad run when he.
Yeah, I mean, Afghanistan was like a Bible. I don't know if you've seen how they live in the Bible. They're in biblical times, and they're just living out there in the dirt, and they're living like goat herders and people just hanging out in the damn desert. And
but I have to say, I saw, and who knows with social media, but I saw a historian sharing photos of Afghanistan in the 1970s, and it looked like America. I mean, it was women dressed like, not like with the face coverings and all that stuff. Looked like it could have been on any street in America at the time. It's weird. So, not having been there, I don't know what to believe. But I want to read about. Go ahead. You got a question?
I was just gonna, with what you said. I've seen those posts before, and my wife and I ended up looking into it because she was confused by it as well. And I don't know when that transition happened, but it's weird. It's like they experienced their own little like apocalyptic event, and they went back to the Stone Age. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, Taliban. I want to read something from this is from Podmatch, where I found you. Podmatch is where I find a lot of our guests. It's about Jason Pike, and it says, the Army investigated him, arrested him, and tried to break him. But Lieutenant Colonel Jason Pike is undoubtedly a soldier against all odds. That, could you care to share any of that? Investigated for...
So when I was 17 years old and I joined the military, I was in high school. The breaking part, I was not adapting well because it was drinking water coming out of a damn fire hose. Do this, do this, do this. And I wouldn't. So they sent me to a criminal correctional facility to try to break me. What it is it was a drug deal with the sergeants to get the worst performing people to see if they can break them out of the military or break you or make you. It was like making big rocks into small rocks. It's a military brig, and and you doing obstacle courses and things where you're at a different level of hell. Let's put it that way. And I come out of there only about a day there, and I was all torn up and bloodied up. But it was sort of a Jesus Christ moment where it sort of made me. I didn't know it, but it sort of made me. And that was like a foundational building block for the rest of my life.
Somewhere in that same bio, and I don't know where the exact sentence is, but it describes your amount of physical training as a wicked amount, and I thought that's a really interesting word.
Yeah,
wicked.
like he's from Boston. Yeah, like you're from Boston. It's a wicked amount of training. Yeah, wicked awesome.
Yeah. Oh, wicked God. Could be awesome, but it could also be evil, and that's what it struck me as, like a wicked amount. Like, wait a minute, what are they doing? They're sticking things under your fingernails.
Oh my gosh! I mean, the amount of schools that I went to over 30 service schools. I mean, yes, when you look at my uniform, you've got the ones jumping out of airplanes, jumping out of helicopters, and all these other things, but there's a lot of brick and mortar higher advanced training, and I went to as many. I volunteered for as much training as I possibly could. A lot of people don't understand that once you just join in, everybody focuses in those movies about the basic training, and that's true. Where that's like come to Jesus type things. where people are screaming at you. But when you serve, you still go to schools, more gentleman type schools, along the way, and you go to many of them. And I volunteered. There's a whole lot of training in the military, and I went through many iterations of different levels of schooling. You could become officer, you become schooled, and you become a major, you become a lieutenant colonel. You get schools and training all along the way, and that's where I talk about the wicked. It's just so many of them, I think. Yeah.
Right. My brother enlisted in the Marine Corps at 28 years old, and he had to go to 13 weeks at Paris Island and all that kind of stuff. But it was they called him Grandpa because he was up against 17-year-old kids. He was 28, and for a 17-year-old, you can imagine. But very competitive. Is boot camp a competition?
Well, it should not be a competition because you're all in it together. They focus on teamwork, and because you might not know how to make a bed, but somebody else does. You might not know how to shoot a rifle. It's all teamwork. You're working with each other to get through. The drill sergeants are the enemy, and you are the brothers and the sisters, and you're there to help each other out to get through. The goal is to get through it together. Teamwork.
So socialism. So it's socialism, yeah. Because you're only as strong as your weakest link, and you need all the links to be strong.
No, he didn't go there. Please tell me he didn't go there.
But that's what it is. It is. It's, I mean, for better or worse, I mean, people just give socialism a bad name because of the Russians.
All right.
It can be
I want you to, if you could, take your camera with you and film this. Go down to the recruiting officer and say, "I'm here to sign up for socialism," and then we'll bring that tape back to the show.
At my age, they would they would be more concerned about my age than it would be about my use of the word socialism.
I'm not sure you'd make it back to the show tomorrow, but just in case, bring the phone and tape.
Do you think this is the first time I've done this? I'm sorry,
hey, Ron's talking.
Ron is talking.
I got a question for you as a veteran. How do you feel about the high incarceration rate of veterans and the high homeless rate of veterans also? Because they're a lot of people, we always talk about supporting the military and supporting these people, but then the statistic, I forget, it's something like 2 out of 3 people that are arrested are former military.
Right. Just before you answer that, it comes back to thank you for your service. Yeah, but you're homeless, or you're going to kill yourself, and we don't care. Thank you for your service. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a problem. Definitely a problem. And there's probably PTSD and all these other things of not being able to adapt that well. That's probably coming in there as well. With the homeless veteran situation, I think they're on drugs or they're on something that there's a whole lot of, and they might not know the services, just like any homeless person. They may not know the services. They may not want the services. They may want to be homeless. That's their choice. And yeah, that's definitely a problem. And a lot of them don't know. A lot of them just don't know all the services that are available to them. They don't have the patience to deal with the bureaucracy of the Veterans Administration. Maybe they don't want it. Maybe they want to be out there fighting in the bars.
Well, that's where it's hard for somebody who hasn't gone through it to understand. You would think that being in the military, you would be more prepared to put up with the kind of bullshit that you have to put up with in order to get right. Because you have to be a more disciplined person than I am. And if I can put up with the bullshit, why? It's hard for somebody who hasn't gone through it to understand, to put those two together. The dichotomy of me being an undisciplined person, but not being homeless. But then we have very disciplined people who are used to being disciplined and doing things the right way, by the book, in line, in order. And then they end up castaways in our society. It's a really hard thing to wrap your head around if you haven't been through it. So,
I went to speak for a homeless veterans event, and really a lot of these folks are choosing to be homeless. They because to get the services, you got to get off the drugs. If you want all these free services, these places that you can go to, they don't want you bringing in all your alcohol and your drugs in there, but they don't want to leave it, and so they decide to stay with the drugs out there on the streets. But that's just my take on it. Just a short interaction.
Do you think they people would just resort to the drugs because maybe sometimes like we were saying, like the transition programs aren't great for those guys, especially. I mean, I can't imagine if if you've seen some shit or had a bad run, and for them to just be like, go ahead.
Well,
it almost seems like when it comes to people coming home, that it all seems to stem to like a lack of structure and I guess structure. When they're coming from the military, everything has a way that it goes. Things go a certain way. You're told to do these things at these times, blah 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 blah. And then you get out, and there's just nothing.
Nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah. I just feel like that leads to a lot of it. I mean, the drugs and alcohol, the a lot of people in the military that end up coming out being abusive of their spouses or of loved ones, stealing, and
so they're basically
crime.
like regular people then.
It almost feels like people coming out of prison. Same thing. They come out of prison and they could go after these programs and try to better themselves, but instead they just resort to what's easy because they don't have the structure and everything that they had behind bars. It just seems like it all kind of stems from the same thing.
Let me just add this to the whole conversation, because spending a lot of time in the VA, I mean, I'm there at least 4 times a month. And very often in psych wards and places where they're dealing with addiction and stuff. A lot of the guys I talked to became addicted through prescription stuff they got in the military to opiates and stuff like that. They got injured in, a combat mission or something like that. And then the first thing they were prescribed opiates, and then when it comes time, their prescription runs out, and then they become traditional drug addicts. So that's a big part of it too, right? I mean, so you come out an opioid addict.
To be fair, though, healthcare does that to everyone.
Right.
I mean, that's not just a military thing. I mean,
I
was in pain management twice. Had to quit because they're like, within 3 months, I went from no painkillers to being on the highest shit on the market, and I'm like, I'm good. I don't like this. I'm out. So I get it.
Jason,
it sucks.
Jason, if someone is a dishonorable discharge, are they available to? Are there still services available to them through the VA because at least they served, or do they fall through the cracks?
Yeah. So if you're dishonorable, you're not going to get into the VA unless you got to make that dishonorable more of a general. So if you've got some mental condition or you had some situation, there's a period of time or years to where you can take that dishonorable and bring it up to a general. You'll have to do some extra paperwork to do that. Things may have changed. If you've had PTSD and you had a dishonorable, they may still serve you, but you've got to prove it. So yeah, you can alleviate that dishonorable, but it might take some extra time and paperwork or involved with it.
I was just curious because a lot of times they'll say, people will say, well, he was a vet, but just because they were a vet doesn't mean they were honorably discharged. And if they can't go to the VA, but they're not competent enough or aware enough to navigate the civilian system of healthcare, they just kind of fall through the cracks. I was just wondering about.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a different levels of discharges. You got honorable, less than honorable, general, and then I think down at the bottom is dishonorable. That's you've done really bad things there. And but if you can, you'll have to go to a veteran service officer, somewhat American Legion, VFW, talk to them. The truth changes with time. So what I'm saying may have changed, but with that dishonorable, you may have to serve, you may have to wait a period of time or to petition they may know who to petition to get it alleviated from dishonorable up to general or something like that. And then you can go to the VA, but I don't think you can go to the VA with a dishonorable. You may have to wait and petition.
Well, that was what I was. I didn't know if there was a way out of it. I thought once you were dishonorably discharged that you did not get VA benefits.
Yeah,
I didn't know there was a way out of it, but
The way out of it is the way. Yeah, you're going to have to petition to get a higher level of discharge, and you can do that. It's going to take some extra time and paperwork. Yeah.
We're going to dishonorably discharge GD from this program. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
When you're dishonorably discharged, though, do they at least give you information on how to potentially fight that later on, or do you just have to figure that out yourself?
You have to figure that shit out yourself.
Okay, that's what I figured. I figured that was the case. Yeah.
Yeah, you're out, man. They want the hell. They want you out. They're pissed off.
Yeah, that makes sense. I figured that was the case. Honestly, I just wasn't sure. So.
See, Matt's a little upset with me because every time I say dishonorable discharge, he thinks of his ejaculation. So
no, I think of I think of involuntary discharge and my prostate condition. Is what I think.
They're old. Back to you, Matt.
Yeah. Well, Stephen, were you considering enlisting at any point? I think they're taking people like you now, and when I say people like you, I mean people whose heads shine in the sunlight.
Hey, listen, I was at ROTC in high school, okay? Because my family, there's a lot of military in my family. And I was on crutches.
Did the R stand for rolling?
GD. He's going to sign up for Black Ops. Anyway, listen, but I spent 4 years in ROTC. I did all of the PT. I did the PT. I was able to keep up with everyone in class to the point where my COs who were active Navy were like, we're going to see if we can find a way for you to enlist in any way, shape, or form. And there was none, I'm a creepy boy, but I tried. Yeah. I did try.
All right. Yeah. And yeah.
I was an actual participant. I did everything everyone else did.
All right. Can we move along? No?
Sure.
Thank you. A couple of things I wanted to touch on. Now, when I was a young man, vets coming home from the Vietnam War were treated much differently than vets today. They were called baby killers and all this stuff. Has the transition to civilian life improved? Obviously they're not being called baby killers, but the people we hear again, thank you for your service all the time, but it feels like really insincere when you see vets committing suicide at a much higher rate than the rest of the civilian population and all that stuff. Do you feel like it's improved, or we just stopped calling them baby killers but it's pretty much the same?
Struggles. Those Vietnam vets had it worse. They had it much worse. But now you have mandatory transitional programs that you have to go through before you get out. It's mandatory. You got to go in there, figure out how to do a budget, how to do a resume, how to get a job, what are the veterans benefits, many series of things you have to go through and before you even get out. I think with Vietnam and the people prior to 9/11, they just said, get the hell out of here. And but
right.
They're trying their. I don't know what the magic bullet is on the suicide. That suicide was a problem even 10 years ago when I was in the service. We had to go to suicide prevention training, and that's just it's really difficult. I don't know the answer to all these folks committing suicide. I know we're trying to get a handle on it, but it's difficult.
I know they're during the Bush, the W administration, they were revamping the VA, and some of it was just changing titles. So like they stopped calling them baby killers and they started calling them really late term aborters, so that
Jesus Christ.
So that they would they'd get rid of that stigma. So
oh, that was a joke. Oh, we have to say that was a joke with TD, because people don't necessarily know.
The opinions expressed on this show are those of the...
No, it might be a joke. You don't know.
It might be a joke.
The Bush administration.
I'm getting attacked by a cat right now. It's just crazy. I wanted to, because I had several times now, I've kind of suggested that thank you for your service. I would, if it's insincere, and sometimes it does feel, it just feels like mandatory. Oh, you served, thank you for your service. And it feels hollow and very shallow, at the least. And I would react to that in like, fuck you, I would get tired to me. Does it, any sensibility about, the overuse of thank you for your service when it's insincere a lot of times?
Not to me. I don't take it. I think that a lot of people just don't understand, and they're just that's what they've been trained to. That's what everybody says to do. Say thank you for your service.
Right.
It doesn't really bother me. I think what more bothers me is they just don't want to get to know me. They think I'm going to end up killing somebody or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Are you?
Just treat me like a human being, like everybody else, and maybe.
Right.
Yeah, that's the only thing for me.
I'm reluctant.
So you don't want any special treatment because you're military. So you want to be scammed through the mail like everybody else. You want somebody to call you and try to steal your life savings like everybody else. You want to be treated like a regular civilian. I understand that.
Yeah, just get to know me and don't think that don't think that I'm some sort of somebody's going to pop off or anything like that. I think a lot of people just want to avoid me a lot of times, and they just don't want to get to know me. And I know I do have a certain.
That's because of the haircut, though. I get that too.
Yeah, once you lose the hair, people assume you're either super
yours is
racist
something
or
totally
angry.
different. It's like a ninth planet. I think they think it's Pluto or something.
Bigger than Pluto.
So Jason, before you went into the Army, when you're what was your favorite Halloween costume as a kid?
I like Casper the Ghost.
It was Jason.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like Casper the Ghost. I was always dressed up as a ghost, the white sheet and the ghost. I still haven't seen a ghost. I kind of believe in them, but I've never seen them. But I wish there.
Wow. Was that budgetary? Was that budgetary thing? Because I know a lot of less than wealthy families said, "Here's your costume," and they give them a sheet and put either the sheet was a cape, and then you're a hero, or it's you're a ghost, or you really did have a fondness for Casper.
Yeah, see, when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to be a ghost because my grandpa's sheets had stuff on them. So
right. Well, you could have used the red sheets, but that really doesn't pass.
No, the red sheets still had the swastikas and the crosses and everything.
Wow! Oh my God. I'm reluctant to go here, but I think because I've had enough conversations with vets now. I brought this up to my brother, and he basically was not happy with me at all, and was very defensive about it. Like, what the hell, man? I'm hitting a sensitive nerve here. I had a guy on who was an Army vet who now runs a radio station to help vets deal with have conversations about the things they went through. But he brought up on my program rape culture in the service, and it's not it's not isolated to women. Rape culture, according to him, is a big part of the service. It's something that we don't talk about. It's like only people in the military are allowed to talk about it. And when I brought it up to my brother, he was in full denial that it's a real thing. But he served a long time ago. I mean, a long time ago. Can you express an opinion about, is it a real thing, rape culture, or is that just one man's perspective on what he went through?
Yeah, we had to go through training, like that rape prevention training or what have you. I never seen it, and I never knew anybody who was raped in the military. I just heard that it was an issue, and with the lower enlisted people in the barracks. But I never saw it, and I never experienced it. I understand a lot of women come out with sexual trauma. I know that definitely is a big
but he said, and
but
his name was
males,
Jason, by the way. Also,
matter of fact,
he was saying it's not just women
that got raped, but I hear that it is a big problem, is what I was hearing when I was at the time in the military.
Right. Now, again, I don't want to stay on this subject too long, but I feel like when there's smoke, there's fire. I've had more than one vet talk about this, and it seems like the Pentagon or people just don't want to touch it. It's got to be, if there are enough people talking about it, it's got to be serious enough and they talk to you about it, so it's serious enough for them to tell you to be aware of this kind of stuff. Why do you think that we can't address it in a way that problem solving way?
I guess that's because it's a medical issue. It's it's governed. What I'm saying is, after you've been raped, it's a very confidential thing that goes on with either with the chaplains or with the medical people, and so they try to take care of you just like you had any other injury. Sexual trauma would be an injury, and so therefore it's it's heavily guarded just because of the sensitivity of those things.
Yeah, so it's not going to get solved then, because if we keep sweeping it under the rug and not talking about it, and especially in the civilian people who are in charge of the politicians who are in charge of this are refusing to deal with it, it's never going to go away. And according to the people I've talked to, it's not just the United States, and it's not just modern times. This has been part of military life since the Roman days, or even before Greeks and all that kind of stuff. So, but it feels like, you know what,
just like a
not the best way to train fighters is,
I mean, you hear it in the prisons all the time, people talking about it in prisons and shows of the prisons. I guess it would be similar in many ways.
Yeah, crazy stuff. All right, now we are running out of time here. We have to move along. But the soldiers, A Soldier Against All Odds, is a memoir. Did you write it for people to understand basically military life, or is this part of some bigger leadership business initiative type of thing?
This is a story of life and love, fiascos, failures, every emotion that you can think of that happens in life. And it's pertaining to, but it's for anybody. I did the audio book. The audio book is it's in my voice. I am the narrator. I am the author of it.
I saw on your Facebook page you were saying I'm doing it over and over and over again, and I appreciate that.
Over and over. Yeah, take 10, take 20. I did not talk like I am talking right now 3 years ago. This took a lot of practice, a lot of work. I was locked up. I was talking in a different way because I wasn't trained to talk and just be natural with the flow. That took a lot of work. I'm 59 years old, but and I had to learn how to just express myself normally, which was very difficult. But no, Jason.
Yeah, we see it every day. GD can't read his own writing either, so
no, it's written in a low level for anybody, and it's a story of just sitting outside and on the front porch just talking. So when you read it or when you hear it, it's going to be in a natural, probably a Southern language, but like I'm talking now. But that's how the book is written. It's nothing complicated, and it's not really just for the military. It could be for anybody in life that has issues and wants to hear some very wicked, wild stories.
Right. Knowing what you know after 31 years and all that it took that you go through in writing this book and recollecting your experience, is military experience something you would recommend to young people coming out of high school?
Yeah, it's an option, and I would recommend them to do very good on their entrance score because that'll give them many options for jobs. And don't look at the military like you're going to get killed or you're going to shoot a weapon. Look at it as like a Fortune 500 company, just like Coca-Cola. You're going to have air conditioner people. Just because you work for Coca-Cola, don't mean you're going to be driving a damn Coke truck. And that's how big it is, and how many jobs and services they have for you. Show up at the right place, the right time, with the right attitude. Even if you don't know shit, you're going to be better than everyone else just doing the basics of showing up, having a good attitude. And so I would recommend it, and just do well on your scores if you can do that.
Interesting. So many people, and like I look at this in comparison to cops, people want to put in their 20 years and get their pension and get out. So a lot of people, especially in my era, would enlist and basically want to just put in their 4 years so that they can get some benefits and then and have that as something on their resume to get a better job. Well, I'm just wondering how many people are getting to be lifers now and put in 31 years like you. Probably not
many. I think it's 17%. Most people don't get their 20. They just go in exactly like my dad did. You go in, get your 4 years, get all your benefits, and then something good on the resume, and maybe priority placement. A lot of these jobs, civilian and state and whatever, state and federal, they prioritize the veterans to get those jobs and priority placement. So most people do just go to the 4 years, 3 years, whatever is minimum, and get out.
So I'm curious. Before you got in the military, did you watch any like military or army films? Like
Saving Private Ryan was your favorite.
But when he was 17, that wouldn't have been out yet. But movies like the old John Wayne type movies and stuff. And when you got to see what the real military was like, did you say what the fuck?
He's old. You probably don't even know who John Wayne.
Yeah, Rambo. You remember Rambo's? The Rambo.
Yeah.
Was that up before you joined? I'm talking about movies that you saw before you joined. So there's a comparison.
Yeah. I think Rambo was, I don't know what year that was, 81.
Yeah, 91 or something, maybe even before that.
81. I remember seeing that, and but now being in the military, I sort of like, it's just all fun and games to watch those movies. Most of those movies are around the very 0.5% of the military. They were around the Delta Force, their special forces. These are the very small percent people in the military that are in those people that go out and kill mercenaries and stuff. But yeah, and it's not like that. And even I did serve in a special forces unit as a support person, and it's not like that. They are very highly professional people. They are not going out killing everybody like you think they do in the movies. And but yeah, I did see. I think it was a Rambo that really got me interested with him. And just like Stephen said, as you know, Rambo had PTSD at the end of that movie. He came back and he destroyed the entire town. And he said, civilian life is nothing. And you could see, and he was crying on the floor at the end of the movie with the colonel. And that was showing some PTSD from Vietnam that he was coming back with. But no, the movies don't give it justice at all.
Now, do some of the modern movies that you see that tell some of these stories from enlisted folks that try to get the details spot on, do those get fairly close? Or do you think they're still pretty far off?
I think the Band of Brothers with World War II, and you see the personal accounts of pain and suffering of the military people that are going through the war. Maybe Saving Private Ryan, maybe Band of Brothers. Some of these movies do get spot on. Yeah.
Jarhead was one that sticks out.
The first Rambo movie came out in 1982. That's surprising to me. That's much earlier than I thought.
Actually, Jason was close. He said 81. So
81, 82. Yeah, 81, 80. Yeah, I remember seeing that. I remember that got my attention a little bit. I thought it was cool. I kind of felt like I felt like, man, he's against the odds. I mean, he's against he's walking into that damn town and no one gives a shit about him. And they said, get the hell out of here. And, you feel that personal account of pain and suffering after the war, and how he reacted to just a sheriff that was just fucking with him a little bit. He's out there in Oregon, and I kind of felt a little that kind of got my attention to a lot. But he was in the special forces, and
there is a lot of body shaming in that movie, though, because if you really look at in today's perspective, Rambo is this lean and cut guy. He's walking around shirtless in the woods, and these soft sheriffs are like, we don't know what to do with this hard military guy.
our chief kink correspondent, Ron Kane, ladies and gentlemen. We have to move along now. A Soldier Against All Odds is the name of the book. It's a memoir. Lieutenant Colonel Jason Pike has been our guest. Now, do you identify, is your identity now an author? Are you going to keep, you plan on making this your life, continuing writing books?
I'm going to continue writing books. I'm a speaker as well, a podcaster, author, and I've got 3 books. I'm working on a 4th book, and a lot of it is about creativity. And I'll continue on this path for a while and until I get tired of it. Yeah.
Any interest in writing a novel?
I'm not really. I love real stuff. In other words, I love nonfiction.
Yeah,
and I'm not really into novels, and I'm not into I'm not into fiction. Yeah.
I prefer to read nonfiction. I've never been a big fan of fiction, but it's just, I think there's a different mindset between a fiction author and a nonfiction author, and the kind of the creative process that goes along with it. Anyway,
I just love people's lives. I love people's stories that are real, and that's where I grew up with that. I mean, I failed English. Okay. I mean, I am not a great reader or writer. I'll put that to you up front. Matter of fact, I believe all of you guys out there can read and understand things, write better than I can, even though I've got 3 books. But it's something that I have a lot of help to do it. Okay. And so,
right.
But it's just that's just my mindset there.
That's an inspirational story just from the start, knowing that you started with a learning disability before you enlisted and now known as an author. I think there's some inspiration and good things to take away just from that.
Yeah. You can change a light bulb better than me, I guarantee you. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. I hope some people will be inclined to get your book. The link again is in the description. And good luck, man. And thanks for sharing your story here with us.
Thank you, Mike Dog. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a great day. Bye for now.
Take care, buddy.
Lieutenant Colonel Jason Pike, folks. Let me go back to this layout. Do this. GD, don't you dare touch my buttons. All right. There we go.
Actually, on my computer, these are my buttons.
Yeah, that's true.
On my computer, they're my buttons.
Fair enough. Yeah, you know, the I don't know where we go from here. Because I think, huh?
He said the news.
Should I go? You ready for news? You would like news?
We're only 20 minutes late on it.
Much remains to be done. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis commended the progress made in the recovery efforts following Hurricane Milton, emphasizing that
I got rid of him. You see that?
Yeah.
You didn't think I could just do that, just get rid of him. You didn't know I was that talented, did you?
You mean the people in Florida are suffering for nothing? You could have gotten rid of him at any time.
I could have, and I will. I think they were suffering needlessly, to be honest with you. Let me newscast. I had headlines in there instead of the actual newscast. Do we need to we do need to hear some news to actually know what's going on in the world, and I'll tell you what's not.
We need to find out what happened 3 days ago.
Well, Ron DeSantis threw some garbage behind him.
Ron turned on there, more like.
While much remains to be done, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis commended the progress made in the recovery efforts following Hurricane Milton, emphasizing that power has been restored faster than ever before after such a major storm.
Although about 150,000 customers are still without power and rivers continue to rise in some flooded regions, the state is providing free gasoline to residents struggling to refuel their vehicles. DeSantis highlighted that over 4 million customers had their power restored within a week of the Category 3 storm. Kevin Sanders reporting.
North Korea has destroyed sections of 2 key roads that connect with South Korea, according to Seoul's military, as tensions remain high over recent provocations across the border.
The North Korean military carried out an act of detonation on October 15th at around 12 o'clock with the presumed purpose of blocking the connecting roads in the Gyeonggui Line and Donghai Line areas, and is currently conducting additional work using heavy equipment, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said in a text message to reporters. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
I can't imagine
the UN interim force in Lebanon has confirmed that its peacekeepers stationed in the southern part of the country will remain in place.
This decision comes despite the Israel Defense Forces firing on their positions and ongoing demands for their withdrawal to the north. Under Secretary General for Peace Operations, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, speaking at a news briefing in New York, stated that after consultations with the Security Council, the decision was made that UNIFIL would currently stay in all its positions. Benjamin Wright reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
2 suspects have been apprehended in connection with a mass shooting that left 1 person dead and 9 others injured near a Tennessee State University homecoming football event over the weekend.
The suspects, Marquez Davis and DeAnthony Brown, both 24, were identified and arrested by the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department. Photos of the men were released following their arrests, and both face charges of murder related to the incident near the Nashville campus. Jim Kender reported.
The United States has fined German airline Lufthansa $4 million over its treatment of a group of Jewish passengers who were barred from boarding a 2022 flight in Frankfurt after traveling from New York to Germany.
The U.S. Transportation Department noted that this is the largest fine ever imposed on an airline for civil rights violations, though Lufthansa was credited $2 million for compensating the passengers, effectively halving the penalty. Most of the 128 passengers denied boarding were wearing distinctive garb typically worn by Orthodox Jewish men, Lawrence Keller reporting.
A tragic accident in Tennessee claimed the life of a child who was accidentally run over by tractor while playing near a haunted hayride, authorities reported.
Detectives from the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, along with the Hamilton County Medical Examiner's Office, responded to the scene to investigate how the child ended up under the tractor. The investigation remains ongoing, and no
Remember the discussion about parental, we were talking about porn, but parental responsibility. Your kid gets run over by a tractor. It seems to me that the parents are negligent in that. I mean, you can blame the tractor driver. Obviously, you got to look where you're going. But a little kid playing near a tractor, no, the parents are the parents responsible for that?
Yeah, they should be. I mean, why is the kid out in the field?
Exactly. That's what comes to my mind. Like, what they're looking into how the accident happened.
But then again, I mean, if it's a farm, I mean, having your kids out there is part of the norm too. So
yeah, I mean it's
that's why you need to have like 10 kids, so that way if one dies, it's considered an acceptable loss.
Right.
So why didn't Jewish folks kind of learn about trying to get on German transportation? I feel like that was just a bad idea from the get-go.
The kid wasn't Jewish. The kid that got run over by it.
No, he's going back to the airplane.
I know what he's talking about.
Oh, okay.
What do you think? I'm stupid? You think I'm dumb? You think I'm stupid? Is that what you think? I'm not dumb. I'm smart. I can handle things. I'm not dumb like everybody says.
What are you?
You guys don't even know that movie reference, and that's the shame of it.
Is it The Godfather?
It is. Fredo.
It's just a shot in the dark.
Well, it's pretty.
It's like
pretty
okay.
shot.
My second guess would have been my cousin Vinny, so that was my second.
My second guess would have been Godfather 2, and then Godfather 3, and then Goodfellas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what? I think it might be Godfather 2. I think it is Godfather 2. Yeah, it is Godfather 2. But same thing. It's one movie, really. It's one movie cut into 3 different pieces. Anyway, what were we talking? Jews getting on Lufthansa. When I think of Lufthansa, all I can think about is the big heist at JFK. You know, it's in the Goodfellas. Speaking of mob movies, but there were a lot of people I know who were getting a cut of that. They sold $7 million. I'm not sure you know the story, but they sold $7 million of cash that was being transported on Lufthansa Airlines. Though Henry Hill and one of his informants was one of the guys who talked about the cash being transported that way. But there were so many hands in that. Now you were talking 1972 or something, so $7 million could add. It was worth a lot more, but it got diluted. I mean, lots of people had their hands in that cash. If you were around the area of JFK at the time, chances are you knew somebody who got some of that money. So that's what I think about when I hear Lufthansa. I don't necessarily equate it with the Holocaust or, you're Jewish. Let's just, while we're diverting the plane or we're changing the plane into an oven. If you don't want to be made into a lampshade, get off now. I don't think.
Speaking of airports, so Ron, how did the job searching go? Because you just had like a second interview with another place, and did you hear back from America? Was it American Airlines?
He looks too much like a Orthodox Jew. That's what they told him.
No, I'm still waiting. I'm supposed to hear something this week. So, and Monday was a holiday. So,
what?
For who?
What kind of holiday?
For people that have real jobs.
Don't you hate when you interview and you have to wait because of a fucking holiday? I hate that shit. I always end up interviewing right before a holiday, so I have to wait extra days.
Well, in America, I'm not sure if you know this, but there's a holiday every other day. Every other day is a holiday in America.
Probably. I think, matter of fact, I had a Simpsons calendar, and they had a holiday every day. Every day of the year was a holiday on my Simpsons calendar. And there were some really ridiculous holidays, but every day was a holiday.
All right. That's the show for you, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your holiday day. Tomorrow's a big holiday. Today's a big holiday. Yesterday was a big holiday.
I think Ron, didn't you say you had like tons of celebrity news, showbiz news, like
No, you didn't say that.
5 or almost like an hour's worth?
It's too late to apologize. Really is too late.
Apologize.
Yeah. Now the kid from One Direction, Liam.
I do have showbiz news.
Oh, is that in the showbiz news? I don't. We don't want to touch on that then. But all right, we'll do that.
You talk about the Fox News thing then.
Well, I wanted to talk. Let's do that before we go to show business. It's just like the alternate realities are just like amazing. People, if you watch the interview, and I didn't see all of the interview, I saw clips that were shared on social media, but I couldn't have been more impressed, more proud of the way she she had Brett back. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Like an obedient school child. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. He was trying his best to gaslight her and do the Fox News gotcha nonsense, but she wasn't having any of it. But if you are on social media and you see the right-wing reaction to it, it was as if she totally fumbled it, and the alternate realities that we live in, the two separate. I say this, you say this. It's day, it's night. It's just remarkable how. And I'm just wondering, could they possibly really believe what they're saying at this point? If you watch,
I watched the full interview, and then I watched the Fox News coverage right afterwards. Like right after they showed it, Brett Baer was talking to 3 other people. One of them was a guy who used to be like a congressman. I can't remember her name, but so used to be a Democratic congressman, and Brett Baer was basically trying to defend himself, because he basically was doing a really shitty job of being impartial.
I feel like he probably would, from all the social media prompting, he felt like he had to just try and score points for the right wing because he was pressured into it. I don't
think he was pressured into it. He is a real Trumper. I mean, he's a Trumper through and through. Back when Fox News called Arizona for Biden, Brett Baer lost his shit. And he sent emails, and this is matter of fact, we know about this because of there was a Dominion lawsuit. The Dominion lawsuit. Brett Baer was saying to the people in the ones who called the election, called Arizona for Biden, saying, look, we can't do this. It'll hurt Trump. Can we lie? Can we change? Can we change the result? Can we change our just don't say Arizona's for Biden. He lost his shit because he said it was going to hurt them with the base, and he's like all in for Trump.
I don't know about that. Have you seen the interview he did with Trump where he basically said, you said you were going to hire only the best and the brightest. These are and he went through the whole list of people that your best and brightest. You called this guy an idiot. You called that guy. You hired these people. These are not the best and brightest according to your own words. And he would not let him off the hook with it. Trump was getting very pissed off, like stop. And he just kept pushing. It doesn't seem like
that interview may have come when Fox News was for DeSantis. I can't remember. Was that during the primaries or something? Because at that point, there was a time that Fox News was like, we're off the Trump wagon and we're pushing DeSantis, but he's back. He's back home, baby.
It was even before the election cycle started. It was like 2021 when he was doing that, but he was very pushing hard on Trump, and Trump was not pleased at all.
Well, he's back home. He's the prodigal son has returned home.
I'm not sure about that. Well, the interview yesterday seemed like he tried to get away with, because he brought up the fact that Trump was talking about using the military against American citizens who disagree with him. And she had been talking about that a lot, about that, how fucking crazy and fascist that is. And then Brett Baer went to play a clip. not of Trump actually saying what he actually said, but of his rationalization and bullshitting about what he didn't say. And they played a clip about when they asked him about that, and so she called him out on it right away. And all he could say was yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, blah, blah, blah. And she wasn't taking any shit from him. So I think she did very well. But
yeah, she stumbled a little bit with the immigration, but that was when they were really talking over each other.
Right.
And he actually he asked her one of those questions. I don't know if you probably remember this, Matt. There was like an old joke when they'd say, so have you stopped beating your wife?
Right.
You know, that kind, and that was one of those types of questions.
Yeah.
And he threw a couple of those at her, and she would like pause and look at him like, he's like, what the fuck?
Right.
And then she, wouldn't even address the question. She would go around it.
It's do you still beat your wife? And it's like, I never beat. Yeah, there's no real way to answer that question without.
Right. He asked a couple of those when it came to the immigration, and there was a woman whose child was killed by an illegal immigrant or an undocumented worker or something, and they played her testimony to Congress or something, and they played that video clip for Kamala Harris. And it says, "Do you want to apologize to her for letting them into the country?" And she she didn't take the bait.
The question that I have is, do you think the people with the night and day, the complete different take from watching it, do they truly believe that she didn't do well in that interview, or they just feel like they have to say that she didn't do well to cover their asses because they can't admit that she did well? Or do you think they're true believers?
No, they're like children. They have to say that she did bad because they can't back it up with anything. They got an elderly codger who's out on stage just staring off, listening to music because he can't answer questions. And that town hall he did with the women that are supposed to be, that they probably paid for, they weren't even buying his bullshit.
I hear what you're saying, and my gut tells me that they feel like obligated to cover for Trump. But from my perspective, I would not be able to go on and say, yeah, she really did, and convincingly portrayed that I think that she failed in that interview. No matter how how good an actor you are, it's hard to actually come across with that level of sincerity. That either all these people are really good actors or they're true believers, and that's what
I think some of them are good actors, because when you like, so with the Dominion thing, with the Tucker Carlson at one point, like in public, would be like up Trump's ass. And then in his email saying Trump's an idiot, he's a fucking idiot. I can't fucking stand him. So one of those two is real,
right?
So I don't know which, because he's
but I'm talking like about the Sean Hannitys who come on, or Laura Ingrams, and talk about how Brett Baer just manhandles. Like, really? I mean, how can you say that and come across like and convince me that you actually believe that? If there's not some level of real belief within you. I mean, like, it's like method acting. You have to adopt that belief, and it's just like, if that's what they really believe, that's even more troubling than if they're just lying. You know what I mean?
I think some of them are lying. I mean, it's a mixture. Some of them are lying, and some of them are true believers, and then some of them are true believers in the cause, but know that what she that what they're about to say
you
is
could
bullshit.
be a true believer in the cause, but to look at that and think that Brett Baer actually got the best of her in that, you have to be on some kind of hallucinogens, in my view. Like, you can take your bias out of it, and I could take my bias out of it and still think that she was very impressive in the way she handled all that.
I think what she did, the one thing, I don't know if she converted anybody to her side or significant numbers, but the one thing she did show was that I'll go anywhere, talk to anybody.
Right.
And Trump can't say that, because if he goes someplace, he's surrounded by sycophants.
Yeah,
and
you
split
would
softball
never
questions.
ever
Right.
see anybody on Fox, especially, ask Trump the kind of question that they. Now, did you see the Univision stuff with Trump?
I didn't get to see for that. I didn't get to see all of it. I just got to see snippets. I know that my understanding is that he did bring up the Haitian thing there.
Hola, hey, hello, Trumpo.
The one guy, and now this is a question that no journalist has ever asked Trump yet, but these people, these citizens in the Univision town hall said, nobody from your administration trusts you or supports you. Your vice president, and he went through the whole list of everybody in Trump's
40
cabinet.
of the 44. 40 of
Right.
44 have turned against him. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's his only comeback was to completely 97% of my administration still support me. Like, yeah, where you pulling that number out of your ass from? But no journalist has the ball. No journalist who has access, who has the ability to get access to him, has had the balls to ask him that question. So it was, and they asked him quite a few. Like, we're not holding back. You hate us.
Now, the town hall he held in Georgia in front of the Trump women, one woman asked him, why does the government need to be involved in our personal lives or something, right. Or, and he didn't answer that. He just, he just said, well, everybody wanted Roe overturned. Everybody, the Democrats is like, no, everybody didn't want Roe overturned.
Yeah. It's bizarre, but that again, I keep coming back to the idea of there are people who hear him say that, and that sounds right to them. Like, wait a minute, how could that sound right to you? That everybody wanted Roe overturned? Don't you talk to people? Have you been out of your house? Have you met?
One of the things that Trump does do is the superlatives. Is like everything is the most or the worst or the best. Like now, that's one of the things he said during that women's town hall in Georgia, was that he is the father of IVF,
right?
Which to me means I violate females,
right? Considering that IVF was invented the first
1978, I think.
Yeah, the first petri dish baby.
Was that baby test tube, baby crystal, baby meth?
I forget the name.
Baby shark.
Yeah.
Baby Elizabeth, wasn't it? Baby Elizabeth.
That's right. That's not right. He's never right. I don't know.
I don't know. Baby shark. No, it's not baby shark.
All right. You know what it's time for?
Showbiz.
All right.
And now, bringing you the latest in entertainment news from Hollywood, New York, and East Bumfuck, Montana. Here's our chief entertainment correspondent, Ron Kane. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Showbiz. Showbiz.
Hey everybody, Showbiz. So here we are. It is, what day is it? It is Thirsty Thursday. So have someone squat over you and make it rain down on you.
And for some reason, be covered in leaves while you're typing on a laptop.
Yeah, why not? I mean, why not? So you had mentioned that this is Liam Payne of One Direction. He died yesterday at the age of 31. Apparently, he fell from a third-story window in Buenos Aires.
Were there any Russians around? I mean, this seems like...
No, but it is rather odd. So...
did he say anything bad about Putin before?
Who knows? Who knows? So
he did post a picture because our last guest, our guest today, Lieutenant Colonel Jason Pike, had talked about Forrest Gump. He did post like 20 minutes before he fell. His Halloween costume was a Forrest Gump costume.
That is terrible timing.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
Forrest Gump. Yeah.
So Steven's probably the biggest One Direction fan on here, from what I know.
No, not even a little bit. I don't even know any of their songs.
Don't lie.
Too late to apologize. That's why
that's not a One Direction song, is
that's
it?
not a One Direction
song.
Oh.
Yeah.
And see, now I wouldn't have known that. You could have told me and I would have believed you. So apparently the three of you know more about One Direction than I do. That's for certain.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And, here we are. And so if you're a fan, it's probably not a good day for you.
The biggest takeaway is from your balcony window, there's only one direction you can
down.
Go. Down.
Oh, wait. I think we have a drop in quick. Oh, really? Right now?
Christ, have you ever met G.D. Fenderson? Given the booze. It sounds like you have. You certainly remember the day your life would be destroyed. That may sound like an insult. But given his history of not understanding how mics work, we can only pray the Xenu destroys him. Rise up and stroke down.
Rise up and stroke down. I didn't hear any booze. When he said given the booze, I thought, well, what are we drinking? I didn't.
That's right. Maybe both.
Yeah.
All right. This is Jake E. Lee, former Ozzy guitarist. Apparently, he was shot. He's still alive, but he was shot several times, I guess, at his house. This is still, there's still details coming out, but I just thought it was an interesting story because this is the only way this guy's getting press now, I guess, is getting shot.
He's still alive. They hit him with 6 shots and he's still alive. Well, it's bad news for me and bad news for you if you don't make that deal.
Matt, you see how his guitar picks are stuck under the pick guard?
No.
Did you used to do that?
I can't see that.
Oh.
Where
Don't
is
see the
it?
red picks at the
over
bottom?
there. Yeah. No, I never did that. I always put them on the mic stand.
Well, you had one of those like clip holder things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they weren't around all long back when you started, right? I mean, they're like what maybe the past 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
right?
well, no, at least 20 years. And let's be clear, I was not a lead guitarist or guitar player in any band until 2001, around there. I was bass player, drummer. I started as a drummer, keyboard player, a bass player. I never played guitar in band until 2021.
We have to get a lineup of Barbie dolls, but of Matt with his different jobs and accolades. Guitar Barbie, drum Barbie, bass Barbie, morgue Barbie, photography Barbie, intelligence Barbie,
just let me
action set.
Off the roof Barbie.
Off the roof.
Can I just ask one question? Why not Ken? Why would it be Barbie? Does it have to be Barbie? Do I have to be a woman?
Because Ken's not a multi-million, isn't $1 billion fucking business idea. Barbie.
So you could be, I guess. All right.
Okay, sorry, Matt, for making you the main character, calling you Barbie. Sorry.
I don't want to be a bitch. That's all. I mean, I don't want to be
complaining, and you're on the way.
Hey, coffee with the dog. Suck my dick.
So anyway, this
if
is
I were Barbie. I might want to do that.
This is from Indiana Jones filming site. The funny thing now is they apparently found a tomb underneath this place. And so, like they say, bring a broom and visit the tomb because archaeologists are now working at this site because they have found some remains and they are digging.
And it was in pristine condition.
Is the movie on hold while they dig?
What? What did he say?
Is the movie on hold while they dig?
Who holds the movie?
All right. So this is 84-year-old Al Pacino.
I like how we didn't even answer his question. Go ahead.
Yeah. I know what.
Yeah, it's like he said, it's fun dropping dusty loads because he is now a father again at the age of 84. He's been making the rounds because he's got a book that has come out. And he talked about one of the things he also talked about is that he did the movie Jack and Jill because guess what? He needed a paycheck. He had no money.
Good for him to be able to father a kid at 84. I think Segovia did at 92, fathered a kid at 92.
Was that like new sperm or was that old sperm they saved up in the past? And
I don't know. I can't imagine. I mean...
Yeah, she's like 30, I think, or something. She's like really young. It's
I have to.
It's fun seeing him say it's fun. It's like, yeah, you're not going to be around in a few years. No wonder it's fun right now.
Yeah, my wife is beyond childbearing age, But I'd love to get a woman pregnant. I really would. Because I'm the end of the line. I don't know if you know this. I'm the end of the line. GD,
we'll find you one. We'll find you one, Matt.
Aren't you the end of the line in the
Yes, I am. Yeah. Yes, I am.
We're like the end of the humankind, I guess. We are the cutting edge of evolution. You and I, where we just become extinct, and you and I are leading the way in that.
I don't think that's how cutting edge evolution works. I don't think it leads to extinction. It leads to
that's how it works. You stop procreating, and then the species dies off. That's exactly how it works.
I can see Matt now with a new kid.
I didn't say I'd like to take care of a kid.
A couple years, and he's got the kid in his lab holding the iPad.
Here's the problem, Ron, with the way you think. I don't have a couple of years. If I got somebody pregnant, I would be dead within a month.
No, you'll make it till they're 8. You'll make it till they're 5 or 6.
I doubt it.
Then you can sit down and have them on your lap, and you can watch.
Changing diapers at this age would not be. Listen, I didn't have a lot of patience for it when I was 20 or 25 or whatever. I don't definitely. Changing diapers. I can't imagine doing that now. I'm ready to have my diaper changed. This is what I'm waiting for. Nurse.
So this is Olivia Rodrigo. More than likely, GD
it looks like a little red button with an arrow on it. Doesn't
hasn't
look like...
heard of her, or maybe Matt hasn't either. But she recently had a stage mishap. Oop.
That's really hard to see.
Yeah.
The stage broke.
No, they opened the door. The gate was open.
Yeah,
the trap door. Yeah, the trap door was open. They left it open.
That's gonna hurt. No.
Yeah, she got up from it. She luckily did not fucking break anything or kill herself, because stage falls are fucking ugly normally, and yeah, I've seen people get really fucked up by stage falls.
So was it? It wasn't planned. It was just
no.
Nope, she was just running to wherever she was going to go to on stage and didn't see it and fell right through. Like, she's just very lucky. She's very lucky.
A professional kept doing the show, because I would definitely not. I would be like, "What the fuck, man?" And then getting up like, "I'm firing everybody in the show. Fuck the show. Fuck the audience. I'm just going off. Who let this happen?"
Well, she had to catch up with the music because the music didn't stop, so she had to go like, 1, 3, 2, 4, 5. She's singing, then she hits her face and goes,
Yeah, she didn't do a meatloaf. She didn't do a meatloaf and fell off the stage. So good for her.
Oh, that hurts looking at it.
And here is Jerry Seinfeld. He's making the rounds because he's talking about this.
There were 2 things that I have to say I regret and that I have to take back. I said that the extreme left has suppressed the art of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I did say that.
Yeah.
That's not true. It's not true.
No?
No. If you're Lindsey Vonn, if you're a champion skier, you can put the gates anywhere you want on the mountain. She's going to make the gate. Whatever the culture is, we make the gate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't make the gate, you're out of the game. The game is, where is the gate? How do I make the gate and get down the hill in the way I want to? So does culture change? And are there things I used to say that I can't say, that everybody's always moving? Yeah, but that's the biggest, easiest target. The accuracy of your observation has to be 100 times finer than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think as I said, the extreme left has done anything to inhibit the art of comedy.
That's all you need to say. That fucking Lindsey Vonn analogy just muddied it up. The fact is, you just say you were wrong. You were completely wrong about that. And I don't know what the fuck I was thinking when I said that. Would be much better than some skiing fucking analogy. I don't know. You could put the gate wherever you want. What are you saying? Is the gate there? And who put it there? I don't know. Does that analogy suffice for you? Did it make sense in your mind?
No, not really. And some people brought up too is like Jerry's showing us how in touch he is with everybody by talking about skiing references.
Right. Yeah. It's like, you know what? I get, but even going back to yesterday's conversation about accountability, I was wrong. It's simple as that. I was wrong. I was just flat out wrong. I don't know what the fuck I was on that day, but that's just not true. I said something that wasn't true, and move on. You don't. I got to complicate it by talking about skiing. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So that's Jerry for you. Coming to Netflix in November, Anthony Jeselnik's newest special called Bones and All drops. I'm excited about this because I'm a big Jeselnik fan.
He looks like he's finally going through puberty.
Yeah. I seen him like a few years ago in DC at the Warner Theater. It was a great fucking show. Me and my wife fucking lucked out, and we got like tickets in the third row, and the tickets were only like $40 each. And
I wish he would play one of the venues online. I would love to go see it. Why was that so funny? Did I make a joke?
No, Ian.
Oh, he's got a comedy mustache now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious to see this special because I know, he has said he's been working on changing his act some. That way, people don't see the shit coming. And he was just saying that he was getting kind of bored with his performance too. So I'm hoping he does shake it up some. And he has been making some transitions, especially during his last special. So
now somebody remind me to get off Govs right now. Govs, if you want to hear more showbiz, you'll have to tune in to us on YouTube. But right now,